Well, welcome everyone to the first Alignment of Light podcast. My name is Igor Galibov, and I'm honored to share this information with you guys. Alignment of Light was created actually for the open communication for the things that are happening within our each individual's reality, especially to the times of our awakening, the times that we get to into the astral travels, the time that we get into this unreal things that we feel and see, and we have so many different spiritual experiences, but yet we have no one to share it with. So this channel here allows other people to express themselves and see that we are all going through these different types of experiences. These experiences to catalyze us to go into a deeper state of our awareness, expansion into our consciousness. How is it helping me in this reality? How am I diving into my soul contract? What is happening to me during my everyday reality in my dream state with my family, with my friends? Why am I feeling these energies? How are they propelling me forward in my evolutionary moment? So there's so many questions that rise up during the time of the spiritual awakening. And for me, for instance, it was a journey, especially doing this for over 20 years. In 2004, I had my awakening, and there was no one to share it with. And I was yearning to share this information with someone, but sometimes you look crazy. Sometimes you look out of the ordinary, and you keep this information to yourself and you don't want to share it. Well, this podcast here is created to share this type of information. That's why it's called the alignment of light. And with me today, I have a beautiful friend, Chaz Bademan, who has helped me to put this together. And we've been working on this project for quite some time to create the alignment of light so we can share this information with the people and allow others to express themselves here as well. Chaz, introduce yourself, please.
Igor, I love you, man. I'm so excited for this, and I'm honored to be here, and just feel so called to be on this journey with you and put the information that flows through you out into the world because it's had such a profound impact on me. And I always love to share the way that we met, and I think I'll keep it kind of brief, and then I think it would also be good for you to maybe share a little bit about like your understanding of our meeting because I think you were having some visions. Um, but a close friend of ours, Nicholas, was having a gathering at your home before he was moving away to San Diego, and he was leading us through a practice of his, and it was a powerful experience. And it was at your home. You and I had never met. I had never been there before. I honestly didn't know of you, so it was our first time meeting. And after we finished practicing, people were just talking afterwards, tapping in, just chatting, like socializing. And you came up to me and you're like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you." I was like, "Okay." Like I'm an open-minded person. Again, that was like the first thing really that you had ever said to me, other than when I pulled in your driveway and you were like, "Go park over there." Um, so I was like, "Okay." Like you've been waiting for me for what? And you said something along the lines of, I've been having visions, or I've been waiting for you. You're here to partner with me to help me put my information out there online. And I was like, wow, what a coincidence, because I was working a corporate job at the time and I was getting ready to make a shift into really taking off with my creative agency and getting more into social media marketing, video creation, and online course creation. So it's kind of brought us full circle over the past few years together. But I'm not sure if you remember that conversation or that encounter, or want to share a little bit more about maybe some of the visions that you were having when we initially had met.
Very clearly, I remember that. Just these flashes are flashing through my mind right now. We have experiences in life, and then we get these visions, like we see timelines. And sometimes you see a timeline that is going to happen a year from now, or maybe a few months from now, and you're not aware when it's going to happen, but you're like aware of it. And that time that the gathering took place in my home, uh, that instance, once I saw you, I was like, whoa, this is the guy that I saw that we're going to be working with. And
Mm,
I knew right away, and that's why I approached you. But the vision came to me about 6 or 9 months before that. But I was like, okay, how's this going to happen? Where is this going to happen? Right? The question of the personality kicks in. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna surrender. As soon as I forgot about it, it just appeared. We met, and it was a perfect divine timing that you were transitioning from your career in the corporate world into this beautiful transition, helping people and holding the space for other light workers to express themselves, which was so perfectly synchronized. And I was mature enough as well to kind of, okay, I'm here ready to share this. So that synchronicity was beautiful. And it's like a lot of us have these visions, but we don't know when they're going to happen or how they're going to happen. So it's very important to understand that, okay, that vision is coming through and the timing of it is going to be decided by the divine when the vessel, the person himself, is fully ready to experience that timeline. It was like basically the higher self is saying, this is what's coming for you. But when it's going to come is when you are fully ready. So we were both ready, and that was perfect synchronization. And that's when synchronizations occur.
That's so powerful, man. And that's been a big part of my life lately is having that realization around having these different visions or feeling into really what my purpose is and what's next for me, and detaching from the timelines and specific dates, goals, milestones, which has been a rewiring process for me because I worked at the financial firm Vanguard for 10 years and I was a senior IT project manager there. I was managing, helping support and manage and working with executive staff in the corporate world, overseeing 50 million plus dollar projects. So they were very structured, budgeting, timelines, milestones, 6 months out, what's the plan? Okay, what's the plan this month, down to the week, down to the day with daily check-ins. So as far as managing projects and the way that I've been wired and what I would associate with success is these very definitive timelines. And I think in that world, that's what allows those types of projects to operate and be successful, especially when you're managing a lot of people and you have people that you're committed to delivering a particular project or product for, ultimately people out in the world. So I think getting into our business relationship and building what we've been building together, in addition to another business partnership that I have where I manage an artist. So I manage an artist. His name is Abel Hart, and we fortunately have all gotten a chance to get to know each other and spend time with each other. And we were all just down in Miami together, just recently. And I'm so grateful for both of you guys. Both of you have really helped support me in this journey in the entrepreneurial space. But with both of your guys' projects, there's this element of kind of letting go of some of these expectations to timelines, which is again a continual rewiring process for me. And I think what I've realized with both your project and really with his, when I'm trying to force these different things to happen, just energetically, it doesn't resonate as broadly. So, specific example, putting out certain videos or songs, if it's like, okay, we need to do this each and every week, and like putting that type of energy into that dynamic doesn't resonate nearly as much when it's like a letting go and just allowing, source energy, universe, whatever you want to call it, to flow through us as this kind of conduit or extension cord. When this is flowing through us, okay, it's there, but I'm also in the right vibration and have my own practice now to channel it through. And I think this has been a really powerful awakening process working with you. And I'm excited to talk more about my experience in working with you, kind of like as a testimonial and doing your work. um but I think that was like a really profound perspective that you had even back then, where you had this vision but were sort of let go of the timing of it. And I'm like, not really sure who it's going to be or when. And then boom, as soon as you let that go, but you at that point in time, I would say, already have a pretty deep practice, right? You have a daily practice, which I think would be good to talk a little bit more about. And I've really developed mine, based on both your suggestion and both Abel's suggestion. Both you guys have a very deep daily practice. And I'd be excited to share a little bit more about like my practice and how it's benefited me. But I think that that's really profound where you had this vision, then we meet, and then I'm open minded to whatever you're feeling. Okay, like I'm curious to learn more about you and what you do. And back at that point in time, at least from my understanding, you had been doing workshops in person for some years, right? Like perhaps even like 10 years or more.
Yeah, so the workshops I started to do in 2014.
Okay.
And before that, for 10 years, I was just spending my time pretty much in meditation. So I spent 4 years in about full meditation, just traveling to different dimensions, exploring different things, experimenting with different realities, and astral traveling, bending energy, creating stuff, manipulating energy, understanding the physiology of it, understanding the multidimensionalism of it, healing my past lives, traveling to my soul contracts, doing the work on the oversoul, working with the different extraterrestrial beings, traveling through different planetary systems, and seeing how they live and operate, and see how I can incorporate that in this reality. So it was a lot of different trial and error and exploration and excitement behind it all, which brought me to this moment here to share. And through these timelines that I've experienced, I always had visions. So I don't see nothing when I'm in my meditation, but I do see when I'm interacting. And when I see people, like I see timelines or I see energies in their fields or energy bodies, right? It's like, or the chakra systems is just given to me. Like, okay, I can see what's going on in their field. I can adjust that or help them, assist them how to open themselves up and to become more aligned with their higher self. So when we talk about healing, we're really not healing anything. We're really actually what we're doing, we're just aligning ourselves. So this is why I decided to call this podcast and the channel is Alignment of Light, because we're coming into an alignment of what we think that needs to be healed or transformed. All it is just bringing all of that into the space of light. And once you do that, everything else just naturally shifts. The columns of the chakra systems, all they need to be is aligned. Your higher self aligned. You're aligned to the universal light. You're aligned with the time sequence of this world. You're aligned with the sun. And once you become aligned with that, you're like, oh, now I get to choose what alignment I want to experience, because you're in alignment to choose the alignment. Until then, we're constantly deviated to so many different places. So in the most simplest form, and that's what really kind of like started me, okay, how do I share this information with people? I had no idea how I was going to teach, what I was going to do, how I was going to present this. And the people that I was working with, they're like, you have to start teaching this. I was like, I don't know how to teach. I'm just channeling in the moment. I'm in my alignment, and that's how I'm giving information. So with time, the people were like, okay, we'll put it together, you just come out. I was like, all right, let's do it. So 2014, I started to do free meditations every Tuesday. And I've been doing that since then. So every Tuesday, there's free meditations. It depends on what it is, whatever the collective is guiding. It could be a new moon or full moon, maybe something astrologically happening or through the cosmos. Maybe some channeling is needed. So whatever the divine gives me, I'm like completely open vessel to channel. I'm here to be of service. So that was my intention. So every Tuesday, that was that. And every Thursday, I created a workshop. So every Thursday would have been workshops day. And during that time period, this is where people get to go into some sort of a structure and create a daily practice. So I started to give people tools according to their vibration and frequency that can sustain them and allow them to evolve further spiritually. Because every day in our spiritual reality or in the physical reality, we go through so many different vibrations, right? And all these vibrations either take us up or bring us down. And how do we come back to the center? That was my thing. How do I close this 3D and 5D reality so I can experience both of them in the most effortless and pleasant, joyful, playful way? And the first 10 years of my life, that's what I did. I experienced different vibrations, and I had my downs, I had my ups. And my perfect example was I always kind of said, okay, let me go try this out. It's like you walk into Walmart and you get bombarded with all these energies, and you come out and you're like, oh my God, I need to clear myself. I need to heal myself. Well, that's what I did. I went into Walmart, came back home, and I would again meditate for 2, 3 days until I cleared it. Then I would go back again to a public area, be like, okay, let's see what I'm getting now. Again, I would come back like completely distorted energetically, and I started to figure it out. What is it? If I am being affected, then I'm not being the effect of life. So I started to really, really dive in and see what am I internally creating that the outside world is having an effect on me. Where do I need to align myself, find strength, wisdom, courage, understanding, love, acceptance in order to find that pure alignment? So for 10 years, I continued doing that. And then after that, I started to share that on Thursday nights during the workshop and created a full program that allowed people to restructure their physical body, to release the karma from there, restructure their energy bodies, and release the karma from there, and learn how to solidify these energies and make sure to maintain that vibration by giving them the most simplest way to have a daily practice that allows them to maintain their frequency and vibration so they become the effect instead of being affected by the surroundings. So, this way, now you're releasing the process of judgment. You're releasing your emotions. You're releasing all the doubts. You're no longer resonating with that. Now you are focusing on the future and the future of your higher self, the connection with your divine self, not the connection with the people around you, because that will come naturally in the most authentic way when you are connected to your true self. So, as we continue growing and exploring these avenues, you start to understand, wow, I'm actually a divine being having this experience. I am not this being who I say I am. I am actually a higher dimensional being experiencing this vessel. And all the belief system that I have acquired from my ancestors, my mother, my father, my friends, my society. And it's like, wait a minute, they're all valid. But I choose to experience the acceptance of my higher self because your higher self thinks you're perfect. It
Mm,
knows that you are perfect. And it reprogramming the mind, reprogramming the emotion, and really synchronizing those two and aligning yourself with the multidimensional, the 5D being that you are. Wow, you really start to understand how that you are a master. You came here to experience life to its fullest. Otherwise, you're not full potential of yourself. And that was like, okay, I gotta share this. I gotta help people. I love assisting people, love seeing them come into their light. For me, that is the orgasm of life. When I see a person embody their soul, really come into this power where they can create their reality from the most authentic way, not from the personality. I want a Mercedes Benz, or I want like a big house, or I want this partner. No, no, no. Our first manifestation has to be of our higher self. And once we do that, everything else around us will naturally just appear because the higher self wants you to have all those comfortable experiences in life, but without the attachment. So I was like, all right, how do I find that perfect geometrical structure for mankind as I started to explore deeper and deeper? And I came out with this 5 day workshop. I was like, okay, this is really simple. It's like, how simple can it be? Because the sun rises every day at 6 a.m. or whatever the time is. It never jumps out at 3 p.m. It has a perfect cycle. And I started to dive deeper into the cycle of the physiology, the cycle of the energy bodies, how they operate, the cycle of the causal body, the astral body. And because we live on this 3D reality, we have to abide by the laws of 3D. Okay, so how do we structure that? And as I started to put that together, it became the most effortless foundation for mankind to experience. I mean, working with thousands of people, helping them put together a certain everyday practice that helps them to really find a balance in their reality, not put them from the space of the la la land, but really accepting this physical reality, understanding how to operate here, as well as understanding the multidimensionalism and utilizing the multidimensionalism to experience the most effortless reality here. And that's what was the course about. And this is what the workshop's about. And that's what the retreats are about. is to find the most effortless way, because life is about having fun, playfulness, joyfulness. If you're not having that, man, it's going to be a roller coaster. Find happiness and joyfulness in everything, because everything, as they say, serves you, right? So if it serves us, we have to see how it serves us. And the understanding that energy fields is the key, because that's why they're called your energy bodies. They're your bodies. We're just not aware of them. But if you learn how to tap into those energy bodies, you expand your awareness into the consciousness of who you truly are. Now you're mastering yourself. And that's the main one of the main things that we as humans need to understand, that we are not separate from our energy field. And bringing awareness into those spaces, because there's programs there, there's codes there, in those templates and the blueprint within those areas, each one has its own blueprint. Understanding them, really diving deep into them, you can transform this physical reality. Why are we always trying to change matter? There's no need. Change the energy. Albert Einstein theory, E equals mc squared. So if energy creates matter at the speed of light, then we should be focusing on the energy and the light. When you focus on the light and the energy, matter takes place automatically. It will shift, because energy creates the matter. So instead of going from matter to energy, we should go from energy to matter, from the roots, which is the opposite of what we were taught from childhood.
Wow. That was a lot that you just threw out there, and I was with you that whole time. And when you talk about everything that you just mentioned, I love the fact that I've been able to go on this journey and do some of this work with you and go through your workshops and go through like many of your workshops and your retreats. And now we're helping find ways to take a lot of this information online and then create community around everything that you just talked about. But I also want to take a moment to share a little bit of my experience for anyone that may be really interested in what you were just talking about, but maybe not even understood like half of the words that you threw out there. And I think that's where my experience in going along and doing this work with you has been so profound. So, my spiritual awakening started in 2017. So, just a little bit about my story. Substance abuse is a big part of my story, and it just really broke me down in deep ways. And I decided to finally get some help back in February of 2017, and that was the catalyst to my spiritual awakening. And then fast forward between when I, first got some help, got sober, got clean, I started to become open minded to new ways of thinking and spirituality by doing some of this 12-step process work in recovery. And for anyone that's struggling with substance abuse or anything in that way, like please feel free to reach out to me and tap into, some of the information that I put out there online. I'm here to share my experience and help as many people as I can. But before you and I met, I had this shift where I was open minded to different spiritual concepts. So I was creating my understanding of a higher power at that time and working through that for years. And also going through and working through some deep traumas and uncovering a lot of issues and patterns that I had in my life. And then, probably about year two on that journey, I really connected with Jacob Ellis, who's a mutual friend of ours. And his good friend, and now you were friends with Nicholas already, but I had met Nick through Jake. And at the time I was on year two of my spiritual journey, and they were doing these solutions for evolution workshops right in Abington. I had never done yoga, I had never done meditation. I always thought I could never do meditation. I was like, I can't sit there with my eyes closed or be with myself for an extended period of time. That's not for me, and I had never even really tried it.
Yeah.
But I honestly, at this point in my life, I was just looking for a different way. I knew what I was doing like wasn't working, so I just became open minded. And these workshops that I was doing with them were profound. Like both of them are very powerful teachers from my perspective. The techniques, their own practices, what they were channeling through them in these workshops had profound shifts on me. So I was trying yoga movements, I was doing meditation. Nick was leading us through some really powerful breath work exercises with different music, and I was like crying and I was releasing all this energy, and I was like, I don't know what is going on here, but these shifts that I'm having are helping me. So then I became close with them over the course of the couple of years leading up to you and I meeting. So I didn't have a daily practice actually until just about 6 months ago or so. So we'll talk more about that. But my experience with this space, when we talk about, aligning with the light or finding our higher self and finding our purpose, I think we're all at different stages of that at any given time, and discovering and rediscovering and letting go and leaning into and tapping into this, source energy, higher power, light, like whatever we want to refer to, something greater than us that's out there. And I didn't believe in something greater than me up until maybe like a year into me being sober. I was like, all right, fine, I'll just try it. All these other people around me were living really good lives. They were like, just give it a shot. Just start praying for other people. And that's where I started. I was like, I don't believe in anything, but I'm just going to say these prayers. If you guys say that works, then fine, I'll try it. And what I noticed was, miraculously, when I started praying for other people, my life just started to get better. And I think what it was actually doing for me was getting me outside of myself for my first time. Praying for someone else takes me out of the hamster wheel in my own head. Again, some years ago, this was really profound for me because I'm operating so much intellectually in my head, all the time, back then, at least, for sure. So anyway, fast forward. So I just want to give a little context as to like where I was at in my journey when you and I met. But I'd never done like deep breath work practices. I had never been to a spiritual retreat or had like really profound, like intentional practices or exercises outside of the workshops that I was doing with Jake and Nicholas. And they had done some smaller retreats, and I had been to theirs. So when you and I met, what I was curious was, okay, like what do you do? Like what do you teach at these workshops? So when you and I first aligned, we put together an in-person workshop. And I will say, just for those that don't know, something that I really respected about you in the beginning was you were doing a lot of this deep spiritual work, and you were really passionate about like sharing this information through you, while you were also simultaneously running and operating another business, like building a business, and you had been building it for years, and it was allowing you to uh, you know support your family and raise your daughters and have a beautiful home and nice things, which is something that I was attracted to, because a lot of the people who I connected with that were really deep down into the spiritual path, they hadn't really accomplished, or they didn't really have what I was looking to achieve, or like in the material world. So I felt like I was kind of like on these two separate missions. Like, okay, I want to build businesses and I want to live this certain life when you talk about matter and have these nice things. But I'm also really love what these people are saying, and these people that I'm working with that are really tapped into the spiritual world. So I just want to throw that out there for anyone that may not know that about you, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about, on your Instagram and these conversations on Tuesday night is very spiritual based. But for those that don't know, you're also what I would consider a successful business owner. You run a business with your brother, and you help a lot of people that are out there, and it gives you time and location freedom to travel, and some element of financial freedom. So I was really attracted to that. Um, but anyway, kind of fast forward a little bit. So I remember going to one of your in-person workshops, and we filmed it. We were like, okay, we'll film this workshop. We'll see like what you talk about. You had a presentation that you had been giving and refining for some years that had some visuals, and the workshop was basically, it was a 1 day workshop, and it was a hybrid of going through information and then also doing meditations with the group. So I turned the camera on, and I was really present for it. Like I was there for the information. And then when the meditations would happen, I would sit down and I would participate. And I had never really experienced meditations in that way that were really, really powerful, where I was really starting to tap into different things that I hadn't tapped into before. And we'll just sort of leave it at that, because I think everyone, has their own journey. So I was in. Like after the first workshop, I was like, "Oh wow, like there's really something here. I'm excited about this." And I think you had been doing some stuff in person. You had been doing some meditations in person and some gatherings in person, and then that's when we started the Tuesday night groups that you still host each and every week. So there's a weekly support group that anyone that's listening to this can join for free. There's links to it on Igor's website and also on Instagram, and you can come through each and every week. And then I started attending those Tuesday sessions to drop in throughout the week. And it was really nice because people get to share and connect what they're going through. You hold space, share information. And then there's also a guided meditation each and every week. And then from our business partnership perspective, what that allowed us to do was take pieces of information that was flowing through you in the channeling sessions and then start to share that on social media and start to build your brand around the information that you were sharing about. And time wise, it's like incredible, but it's been, basically 2 years since we've been working together in that way. And I'm grateful now we have a small team where, there's people who help us extract this information and run a lot of the things that you and I were doing just ourselves in the beginning. But the reason I throw that out there is because, the Tuesday groups were really powerful, but the recording that we did at the workshop, I think in watching it back, and not to speak for you, and feel free to chime in, but you're just like, I just don't know if it really all came through like fully in the way that I would, want to put it out there online. Because one of my goals and one thing that I'm passionate about is, okay, like how can I connect with different people, take the knowledge and information that they have, and then put it out there online in a way that it can have large ripple effects and affect a lot of people. So we actually, I think, tried filming the workshop like a few different times, and also I think you were refining the information that was in the workshop. You had been doing it for many years, but I also think there were perhaps like little breaks in how frequently you're doing it, and also you were going through some pretty big life shifts. Not to put your information out there, but different partners and different things in life were shifting. So, like we talked a lot about in the beginning, and what I kind of skimmed over a little bit about my own practice, but being in alignment with ourselves and connected with our higher self. And that being, at least for me, really the goal of all of this. Everything that we talk about, causal body, astral body, emotional body, organs, like all these things that people are like, what are you guys even talking about? I think at the root of it for me comes down to being in alignment with your purpose and knowing who you are, and finding that through these different practices: meditation, breath work, and community. So at the root of it, everything that I'm working on with your project, with Abel's project, like my two like main passion projects, that is at the root of all of it. And I think the third time was a charm for us, where we hosted an online workshop. So we were trying to record the in-person workshops, which was like a little bit more complicated. People are there. I'm running multiple cameras by myself, running back to this one. We have this one that's like tracking you. We have different you had at one point you had two wireless microphones on you, one for the people online and one for the cameras in person. And the third time was a charm for us, where we did the Master Thyself workshop online, and then I was there in the studio that we built at your home to record the workshop, and it flowed through in a powerful way. And then, since then, we've built a team, and we've worked with Ariel. She's been amazing at finding different visuals, and we worked with had custom visuals created. Shout out to Grace and Sky for creating some custom animations for us, because you had these visions of, there's certain ways that the energy, I believe, flows through us, and this information really isn't out there yet. So some of it we were able to get off of these different websites with visuals. Others, we had custom designed. And I'm super excited that this information is now ready to be put out into the world. So we have the online course, it's ready to go. Just who knows when someone will be watching this, but you can tap into the alignment of light community that we have, and you can come in and you can have access to the weekly guided meditations that Igor does, the recordings of those. You can learn more about his story. Everything is in the alignment of light community. And then if you're interested in tapping into the course and being supported in that way, Igor will work with you in a community setting, and everyone else that's going through the course will help support you and guide you as you go through this information, which is very, very powerful in my experience. And that's called the Alignment of Light Academy. So it's time. The stars are all aligning. We were talking about it a little bit before this call, and again, I want this conversation to be a little bit timeless, but I do think it is worth talking about the date. So the official launch date of the first wave of people that will be going through the Alignment of Light Academy is going to be 4-4, and this is also an 8 year. So there's some element of some of these numbers from a numerology perspective aligning for you. So I know there's a lot that I threw out there, but I'd be curious if you maybe just want to touch on the timing of this and just how you're feeling about everything that we've put together, and it's ready to go.
Yeah, it was really building up to this time. When we are born under a certain alignment of stars. Now, these stars do not dictate what your life is going to be like, but they do tell you what are the opportunities available for you. And if we learn how to connect to different cosmological alignments, we can really, really take off in our life. You mentioned about creating abundance in the physical reality. Of course, we're here. I feel like the spiritual community are the ones who should be making all the money because they will utilize it towards the right direction, compared to other people that, okay, they just want it for themselves. So there is a big urge, I feel like, the spiritual communities understanding the concept of money, understanding the concept of this reality, because we're connecting to other dimensions, but we also have to bring those dimensions into here. And then to do that, we can change the system from within. And we cannot destroy nothing. The systems will never be destroyed. It will be changed gradually because the higher dimensions understand time on this physical reality, and they know how to work with it to make sure that there's no chaos. Because if you cut something off, you're abrupting the flow of it, right? And the divine never abrupts the flow of anything. It understands even that serves the light. So, once we understand that concept, in order to change this reality, we have to dive into it. We have to dive into those uncomfortable aspects of ourselves to make sure that we can operate here freely. So the timing that was shown to me was like, okay, this is the perfect timing when we're going to be launching it. Why? What do we have? We have the solstice, right, coming out. Then we have the equinox. I'm sorry, the equinox, and we have the April, which is the connection to the first zodiac sign. So the beginning of astrological new year. And it just so happened to be everything just came into that. The eclipse is coming in on the 8th, the new moon on the 7th, which we're actually going to be doing an event here as well with Nicholas. Um, so a lot of things are coming together. So for me, it was like, okay, how do we understand these dimensions and allow them to support us in this reality? So one of the things that is really, really powerful for this community is to be able to express ourselves and what's happening internally, externally in our everyday evolutionary moment. What is really happening to you? Because a lot of times we're not even aware that things are happening, and we get so excited and we want to share. There's no one to share with. Your family might not understand you what's happening, but you kind of understand, but you don't know how to express it. So here we create this community where we can support one another. Not only that, now the workshop that's going to be coming out, the workshop is there to understand that. It really is there to ground your whole physiological, your spiritual being into this reality, and so your mind can has an understanding of what's happening and utilize these energies for the most expansive and beautiful and powerful, luxurious life, because we're here to experience it all. Now let's take a look at Ascended Masters. Saint Germain, for instance. Saint Germain was a very powerful being. He understood energy, he was wealthy, he created schools, hospitals, he helped the communities. Is there something that he did not have? He had everything. Why? Because if we want to be, to understand this physical reality, is to experience life to its fullest. Otherwise, you're not your full potential of God. So that was like one of the things that I saw. I was like, wow, Saint Germain, really, the story of him like came really strong. We're here to experience it all. But how can we experience it if we're not balanced? So the workshop was created that way. So you guys, everybody can find a balance within their own system. And then from there, because you're getting so much clarity, you understand your soul's blueprint that it came to experience in this reality. So now you can start walking the path of your reality. For instance, like you mentioned, you worked in a corporate reality, right? And then you decided to shift. You shifted. You shifted from that corporate reality 9 to 5, but yet even that 9 to 5 was setting you up for this reality which you're experiencing right now.
Oh,
So you
100%.
found gratitude in that, yeah? And
Definitely.
since you found gratitude in that, it helps you find a structure here. And look what you're doing. You're helping thousands of people to express their spiritual wisdom and share it that helps other people. So now all of that came together, and now you're understanding that. Now you have the freedom to do what you love, you experiencing yourself in the spiritual dynamic as well. You have your daily practice, you understand how to bring yourself back into balance, you're healing yourself, you're having more fun in reality, and you're doing what you really truly love. Why? Because you're aligned with yourself. You know who you are. It doesn't matter what's happening outside, but you know who you are inside. And inside, we understand the mechanics of this physiology in this body and how it operates. You're like, oh, okay. So your organs are not there just to process food. My organs are there to process emotion. And now that you understand that, you tap into an emotion. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me tap that into myself, see what it is. And instantaneously, you have a shift in your reality because you now understand where that emotion is coming from, what is it trying to tell you, and how can you express it without holding it back or creating a trauma in your life. So the tools that are given there is to find the most simplicity in our reality.
Man, it's so deep and so profound in so many ways, and I always love to bring it back to my personal experience with it all because I'm in it actively right now. And when you and I first started working together, in a lot of ways I was like really a totally different person. I've changed so much by doing a lot of this work, physically, mentally, spiritually, like all real aspects of me have changed. And I will say I wasn't even really seeking that when we met. Like I wasn't in a state of mind where I was like, I don't know myself. Like I was okay. Like I was living a happy life. You know, I had joy. I had a corporate job that was I felt really serving me and helping other people. So I'd also encourage anyone that's listening to this, like you don't also have to be in like a major state of despair or be super lost to start doing some of this work. You could also have a practice and are just seeking community and you want to support other people on their spiritual journeys and you want to share your experience, which I always think is super profound about the in-person retreats that we do. So I don't know if and when you'll be listening to this podcast, whoever's listening right now, but in 2024, there's going to be an in-person retreat in Egypt. And there's more information on Igor's website and on social media where you can tap more into that. But I would encourage whenever you're listening to this, check out Igor's website and see the next in-person retreat that's being hosted because I've had the honor of being at many of Igor's retreats since working with him over the past few years. And they're very, very powerful. It's a combination of sharing this information and then also the collective energy that just comes through. And we're doing meditations together, it's community, we're eating amazing food. There was just a retreat that I wasn't able to attend physically, in Mexico that just look completely incredible. So again, like tap into some of the content that we have in the Alignment of Light community, and you can see on both in social media and in the community itself, you can find out more information about these retreats and events. But I will say the biggest thing for me right now, and I appreciate you seeing me in the way that you do and saying, you know, I'm in alignment with what feels like my purpose and happy, and it has been and still is a lot of work to do this rewiring and dive into these paths and do the shadow work. And you refer to, you know, the phrase, you know, rewiring our DNA. And, you know, for me, what that means is really diving into the way that I'm wired. And, you know, a big part of my journey, a part of my spiritual awakening was following the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza and was watching his program Rewired for a few years before you and I had met. And, you know, the understanding of the quantum field and our ability to rewire our brains. And I really liked the idea of following someone at that time where I was at my journey. I liked following someone that was a neuroscientist and had teams that were studying this and proving it with science. It was just important for me where I was at in my journey. But I think one thing that's really powerful about a lot of the stuff that we're talking about and a lot of the stuff that you just mentioned is a lot of it now science is catching up to it. And science is agreeing with a lot of this work and a lot of these changes in the ability that we of these physical beings have the power over ourselves down to the molecular structure and rewiring our brains and our thought patterns. And if that is too deep or heady for you, you know, for me, like a big part of this has been just creating new patterns for myself. You know, as far as like used to smoke cigarettes, you know, stopping smoking cigarettes, like quitting a different habit, you know, didn't really go to the gym or have a regular physical fitness routine, starting to just go to the gym and like, okay, I go to the gym now and getting over that hump of like, oh, the gym and this resistance. And, you know, okay, I sometimes do meditations at these workshops or these different events that I go to. That's where I do my meditation. And then the rest of my normal life is just normal life. Um, but now, over the past 6 months, and thanks to your encouragement and also Abel's encouragement, like I mentioned, you guys both have deep practices. You would say to me, whenever I'd be going through something, and I'd be like going through the shift or change, and we're talking, like, how's your daily practice? It would always start with that. How's your breath work? How's your every day you're doing your breath work? And whenever I was going through, no, I haven't been doing it as much lately or here and there. And I can't speak enough on anyone that's listening to this. If you don't have some type of daily mindfulness practice, and it can start with even just 3 conscious breaths at the beginning of the day or the morning or whenever that you can. But if you do not have a daily practice, most of the people that I follow, and in my own experience, the people that have a life that I'm interested in and a life that I want, have a daily practice. And Igor has put together an amazing daily practice that's out there and available for free for everyone that's in the Alignment of Light community. So it's 30 minutes long, and if that seems daunting for you, even if you can just get through the first 5 minutes and you can maybe work your way up to it, because for me in the beginning, it's like I don't have a half hour in the morning. I got to do this, got to take this person. Maybe you have kids, they got to go off to school, or whatever your life might look like. There's infinite amounts of excuses that we can put in our way. But it's like, how bad do you really want this? How much do you want to have this shift or awakening? Or if you're in the middle of it and feeling like I'm yearning for the next level or just looking to get to that next level, it can be a balance, I think, for at least for me, of information and having the right information, but also having the discipline and implementing that into the practice.
Yeah, definitely. So the daily practice was actually this is the most simplest way. You know, we might think 30 minutes, like you mentioned, it's it's a lot of time. But if you don't give the time to yourself, and you're not fully aligned with yourself, then you're not fully helping your children, your loved ones, your friends, your families, because you're not in the space of divine discernment. That's very important to understand. So that
Divine discernment, and
yeah,
what you mean by that is like the position to be able to discern the different decisions that you're making and feeling, right?
correct. Because sometimes we go out and we help somebody, and then you
Yeah.
come back and you feel painful or you
Mhm.
feel wrong. That's because maybe you weren't supposed to help them. Maybe you were supposed to just hold the space for them or guide them into to a certain realization.
Oh,
But
I
because
just
we are
real quick,
willing to help,
I just wanted to jump in there real quick because someone said this visual to me yesterday. I just wanted to mention it, and I never heard it before. But they were like a caterpillar when it goes into a cocoon, and it the only way that it's able to get out of the cocoon and become a butterfly is by growing inside of it enough to be able to break through the cocoon with its own wings. And if you go to a cocoon and you see this caterpillar in there struggling and you tear open to let it free or help it, it will die. And I
correct.
thought that was a really powerful visual of like the different struggles that different people are going through. And me personally wanting to be someone that really feels called to help people. It's really been a process of rewiring myself. It's like holding the space, listening to them. Sometimes it's been loving people from a distance, a lot of people in my life, because I just really want to help everyone. And I feel so called to do this, which is why I feel so aligned to this work. But that visual, I just wanted to throw out there because I thought it was really profound.
Yeah. So the daily practice was actually created for that, is so you can understand yourself and then you can fully help somebody, because now you're coming from an aligned self. And the daily practice actually has some great visuals. The daily practice is not just regular breath work, it's synchronization of 3D and 5D into this reality. It has the visuals that will support you to understand your energy bodies and to find a balance within your hormonal and endocrine system. Because if that's balanced, then you will be balanced as well to receive the divine guidance. Because a lot of times we do get messages, we do get channelings, right? I had a friend was very interesting, gets a channeling that she needs to move to California, sells her house here, moves to California. 2 years later, moves back. What happened? Didn't you just have a vision that you expressed that you need to go there? And everything else? Yeah, she did. But that vision was not of this timeline. That vision was of a parallel reality. How do you know what is that vision that you're getting is for this reality, or you're tapping into another reality? This is where the workshop comes in. This is where the daily practice comes in. So everything was geared up to realize the full potential experience in this moment here, because that's what happens in the multidimensionalism. We get drifted away into other dimensions. We think those are our lives, and we start to focus on them instead of focusing on here. So we're not fully contributing to the earth. We're not saving the environment. We're not fully participating with Gaia. In order to do that, we need to be fully here. So when we're fully here, we are the divine humanitarians assisting her. So our lives can become better, our children's lives can become better, and the other generations' lives can become better by understanding our inner world, coming into your own alignment.
Love that, man. And I'm really grateful. And we started working uh with someone beautiful recently, Nick's partner Cher, and she has so much value to offer and so much experience. And she went through the online course that we put together. So when Igor talks about it being a workshop, we took Igor's workshop and we put it together into an online course format, which you can go through at your own pace and with community support in the Alignment of Light Academy. And you can go to Igor's website or social media and you can get access to the Alignment of Light Academy. And I'm excited to see you in there, as you join us. But she went through the course and then we had a call afterwards, like, okay, what did you think? And she expressed that she had knowledge of some of this information as far as the chakras and the energy bodies, and had even like seen other courses that talk about some of this information in similar ways. But the one thing that was really different for her, and I'm so glad that she reminded me of this, because we've been working on this for a little while, and sometimes I can forget the real driving force behind it. But a lot of this information is out there. Same thing with like Dr. Joe Dispenza and the rewiring information. A lot of it is out there. But what Igor does that, in my opinion, is really unique, and Cher reaffirmed this as well, is that there's practical ways to implement this information. It's not just take this information and figure it out for yourself. There's supporting breath work. They're supporting activations of different organs. There's different clearings. So as a part of you going through this course, there's practices. So the daily practice that Igor was talking about is a part of it. There's also activations, meditations, and other supporting breath work. So you can truly implement this information into your system as you're going through it at whatever pace is resonating for you. And then if you're going to have any experience that's any similar to mine, you're going to have big shifts and you're going to have awakenings. And maybe there'll be small shifts at first, and maybe they'll be subtle at first. But I think that's why, as we're launching the Alignment of Light Academy, it's so important for us to have this community around us going through these journeys. And if you're listening to this right now, you're not alone. You have access to me, you have access to Igor, you have access to everyone that's in the community. So as open and willing and vulnerable as you're able to be on these calls as you're going through the course, or if you're just looking to explore this for the first time, coming into the Tuesday group and introducing yourself and sharing, we are truly here to support you. And I'm really excited for anyone that's listening to this. If any of this resonated with you in any way, please join the Alignment of Light community. And as you dive into the community and dive deeper, and if you feel called to dive into the Alignment of Light Academy and really start doing some of this work, I'll see you in there.
Thank you, Chaz. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely, it's been a passion for me to share this information. It was in the beginning, it was like, oh, I'm just doing the work. But now it's like, wait, this is simple. This is really tools, not just information, but actually practices that really give you full potential. It's like you can really embody that energy by having these proper tools. Because I mean, we're living in a life right now where information is infinite, but now the how to, that's the important part. The how to put all this together. It's like you have books, but they're not in the shelves, they're all over the place. So this is created to put everything in the proper shelves so you can tap into these dimensions whenever you need to, whenever it's ready for you. So I'm really happy, really excited to share this information on school. Really excited about alignment of light, of how all of this coming together to give people the tools, to give the people the support that they need. Not only just the Tuesday nights meditations, not only the practices, but also having the academy. And the academy is for those people that are really ready to tap into a higher dimension of their reality, really ready to master their physical and spiritual aspects, merge those two together, and live their full potential here and now. In this moment, this is what we're here for. We're not here just to travel into other dimensions. That's beautiful. But how are these dimensions serving you here and now? How do you clear these karmic patterns? That is what the academy is going to help you. The academy is going to help you really drive forward, create a divine trajectory for you that can create a simple and the most effortless, abundant, and I'm going to talk about just money, abundant life in the spiritual, physical, grounded way. So you now have left and right hemisphere of your brains fully operating, your divine feminine and your divine masculine moving forward. There is so much support out there. We have a lot of support from the angelic realms. How do they support us? How do we communicate with them? That is another part that we need to understand in order to experience this 5D into this reality, because they are here and waiting for you. And trust me, when you feel that you're going down and you're by yourself, you're not. The angelic team is there for you, the support team is there for you. And now we have created a community that is there for you as well. So physically and spiritually, you are always supported and guided. Love for you guys to join us and comment in the comment sections there, where you can share your information, share your experiences, and you're not the only one. And if you're holding back and you don't want to share, trust me, your sharing will help other people to step up into their divine space and make sure that they feel comfortable as well. So sharing is caring. So love you guys. We all have to come into this together. This is what it's all about, is unity, community. That's why we're here on this one globe, one earth, one Gaia.
Woo! Let's go.
We gotta do this. It's a beautiful thing to express yourself. It's beautiful to share this, to help people. I mean, it's not just like, oh, I want to help because I want this. No, no, no. This is what we're here for. What happens naturally to an electron? An electron becomes full with all that energy. It needs to share. If it doesn't share, it collapses inwards. That's what we're here for. We have to share our wisdom. We all have wisdom. We're all masters. We're just not aware of it. And by studying, exploring, meditating, diving into these places, we understand that, okay, I am a master. My time is coming and I am here to share as well. And that's what we all here. We're all here to raise the mastery within ourselves.
I love it, man. That was beautiful. That was really hit me, and I'm super excited about everything that we have to offer, and I'm really excited about everyone that's been a part of our community and seeing this community grow over the years. When I go back and watch the different testimonials that we've recorded, it's very emotional seeing the impact and the deep profound shifts that people are having doing this work. And it's really everyone's individual work, right? But these different tools and tips and techniques, and a lot of that you're sharing and offering and then holding space for people to have these shifts. So I'm super excited. I guess that's the end of the first episode of the Alignment of Light podcast. This is really just the beginning of starting to put this
Yeah.
information out here. You're gonna probably have lots of other guests on here sharing information. Then this information will be made readily available to everyone that's in the Alignment of Light community. And yeah, so grateful for you, man. I love you. I'm so excited about this work, and in a lot of ways, it feels like this is just the beginning, and I'm
Me
excited to
too,
see it.
brother. Me too. Thank you very much for constantly motivating me. Like, Igor, come on, we have to do this recording. And be like, no, it's okay. I'll just sit in meditation. I'll share my stuff through the higher realms. But yeah, we have to do this. And I'm very grateful for you and for your uh, openness and willingness, being patient with me and pushing us forward into this expression. So I'm really happy for that. Thank you so much, Chaz. Love you, brother.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
you too, man. All right, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys in the Alignment of Light community.
See you then.